Good afternoon. And really, it's a great afternoon if you can get outside. It truly feels like spring out there. From the KUOW newsroom, this is Seattle Now. I'm Paige Browning with a roundup of today's top stories. It's Monday, April 6th. Starting with a very sad wildlife story, a gray whale that has been swimming up a southwest Washington river has died. The juvenile whale had swum around 20 miles up the Willapa River and appeared extremely thin. Researchers found it dead Saturday in shallow water. Before that, 2 adult gray whales were recently found dead at Ocean Shores, Washington. John Kalambokidis of the Cascadia Research Collective says it's part of a larger decline in gray whale populations. They're down to their lowest levels in 50 years.
This isn't just this boom-bust cycle we've seen before. This looks like something more prolonged, more extended, something much more troubling.
Scientists will be performing an examination of the whales. Over in tax debate world, Washington's Supreme Court will take up a constitutional challenge to a portion of the state's new income tax on high earners. State government reporter Sarah Mises-Tan has more.
Written into the law is a clause that prevents it from being repealed by voters through a method called a referendum, something the conservative group Let's Go Washington says is unconstitutional. Writers of the tax say it's a standard move for new taxes in particular because they are deemed necessary to keeping government running. Brian Haywood, founder of Let's Go Washington, disagrees.
In this case, they're saying, well, we don't need the money until 2029 at the earliest. It's clearly not an emergency. They're just saying, well, we can just, anything that we want, anything that we deem necessary, we can protect ourselves from voters.
Referendum aside, voters could still weigh in on the new law at the ballot box. It would just be in the form of an initiative instead. Haywood and his group are expecting a ruling by the end of this month. In Olympia, I'm Sarah Mises-Tan.
There's another fight over another newly passed law that's also happening. 4 Eastern Washington sheriffs have filed a lawsuit to block a law that could get some sheriffs and police chiefs canned. The law stipulates that police officials can be removed from office if their misconduct gets them decertified by the Police Training Commission. But the Washington State Standard reports the suing sheriffs say the state doesn't have the authority whether a sheriff commits misconduct or not because most sheriffs were elected by the people. In news fueling transit lovers, Tacoma leaders are not ready to give up on a planned light rail extension to the Tacoma Dome. It is one project that could be on the chopping block as Sound Transit grapples with a budget deficit. KNKX Murrow News fellow Nate Sanford has more.
Tacoma Councilmember John Hines says his son was 3 years old when voters approved the plan to expand light rail to the region in 2016. Because of delays, his kid is now on track to graduate high school before it's finished. And that's if it gets finished at all.
Because we've been waiting for so long for this to show up, that I think that there is a definite concern that maybe it might never get here.
At a council meeting last week, Hines and his colleagues voted to send a letter to Sound Transit expressing frustration after the agency floated cutting the Tacoma extension as one of several cost-saving ideas.
We're getting to the point now where the concern is not only just situational, it's generational.
Tacoma leaders said their city has updated its zoning code, made investments with tribal partners, and seen a flood of private investment in anticipation of the light rail. Sound Transit says it hasn't made any final decisions. Cuts to the light rail extensions to Ballard and West Seattle are also on the table. The agency says it's seeking feedback from residents through a survey on its website. Nate Sanford, reporting.
Get ready for a busy fire season this summer. A low snowpack has primed the Northwest to turn dry and fire-prone earlier than usual this year. John Ryan has our forecast.
Snow shortages in Washington and around the West have fire experts bracing for a bad year for wildfires. Karen Bambacco is Washington's deputy state climatologist.
You have a longer window of opportunity for those fires to get started and spread when the snowpack melts out sooner than normal.
Snowpack in Washington's mountains was nearly half below normal levels as of Friday. Oregon's snowpack was 80% below normal. Federal fire officials expect eastern Washington and eastern Oregon to be at high fire risk as early as June. Fire hazards are expected to get worse and spread to southwest Oregon in July. Other parts of the West have severe snow droughts, too. That means smoke from other states' fires has a good chance of darkening northwest skies. John Ryan, KUOW News.
Next time you hear from someone, or maybe wonder yourself, that Seattle's downtown is dead, you can cite this. Visitors have come back to downtown and are surpassing pre-pandemic levels of tourism. A new report from the Downtown Seattle Association shows more than 15 million people visited downtown last year and the year before. That's a full rebound from the pandemic. But the number of workers heading downtown remains at just about 2/3 of pre-pandemic levels. In healthcare news, Port Angeles recently lost its only Planned Parenthood health center. KNKX's Anna Marie Yanni has this story.
Planned Parenthood cites funding pressures and growing telehealth demand for closures like the one in Port Angeles. That center had offered abortion, gender-affirming care, vaccines, and testing for sexually transmitted infections. Family doctor Allison Berry is the health officer for Clallam and Jefferson counties.
Between all of us, I do think we're going to be able to fill the gap.
For example, the health department can still help with things like vaccines and STI treatment. And Planned Parenthood still has telehealth services. Federal actions to limit gender-affirming care and abortion access have other providers trying to fly under the radar.
Understandably, clinics have been cautious to share what they do because of fear of danger to their providers and to their patients.
Barry says the Planned Parenthood closure has encouraged local health providers on the peninsula to be more public about what they offer. I'm Anna Marie Yanni reporting.
A quick save the date. Seattle's bustling University Way will become a walker's paradise 3 times this spring. The U District advocates, a neighborhood booster group, will shut down the Ave to cars between 42nd Street and 43rd Street, according to the Urbanist. Cars will be banned May 30th, June 6th, and June 13th. It's a test pilot. The neighborhood has long floated making some of the Ave car-free permanently. A couple more things today, including a question for you. First thing, you gooey duck clammers need to mind some new limits. Washington State Fish and Wildlife officials have set a new 1 gooey duck a day limit, down from 3. Officials also increased the minimum size for harvestable cockle clams by 1 inch. The rules are meant to help more clams reach reproductive stage. And our question for you today. You may have heard that Washington State is suing prediction market Kalshi. We're working on an episode this week about the lawsuit and about sports gambling in general. Have you used Kalshi? Or do you participate in sports gambling? Maybe you like to visit a local casino and place a bet on the Mariners game? Send us an email or leave us a voice message with your story. We really want to hear from you tonight or tomorrow morning. Our email is seattlenow@kuow.org, and that info along with our phone number is in the show notes. Next time on Seattle Now, we've just entered the 7th season without ferry service between Anacortes and Sydney, British Columbia.
I'm struck that people have not forgotten that this route existed, and they're still yearning for it. But it also tells us how deep a hole the state has dug for itself, using a landlubber's analogy, in terms of its pipeline of new boats.
We'll talk about why it hasn't come back Tuesday morning. That's all for today from the KUOW Newsroom in Seattle. Our producer is Brooklyn Jamerson Flowers. I'm Paige Browning. Seattle Now and KUOW are members of the NPR network. Hope you enjoy the sun this week, and talk to you soon.